I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. It's what got me into anime because it was on Toonami, come at the school.
Right.
You get Sailor Moon beforehand,
Yep.
which I got into that.
Yep.
It was like I was a kid and it's like 14-year-old girls in skirts fighting. It's like, all right, this is something.
Jake Cosplayers, Jake Dawson.
Arsenio.
Nice to meet you, Arsenio.
Nice to meet you, man.
Like the Daredevil cosplay you have going on here.
Thank you, man. I love your Android 17, a big Dragon Ball Z fan.
So why'd you pick Daredevil out of all the Defenders?
When I first started watching the series, I was really into like how they started redesigning it. The actor they got, Charlie Cox, was phenomenal, and everyone was like, "You look like the guy. You look like the guy." I'm like, "I don't see it." Then I saw photos, and I'm like, "Wait, shit, I do look like the guy."
It's the same thing with Android 17. Once I shaved, people were like, "Oh my God, you look just like him," and I'm like, I guess I'll take that.
Until recently, 17 didn't get any love.
Yeah, he wasn't getting too much love, but even though the fact that he won the tournament, I still prefer this version when he was a villain.
Because he had more attitude, more gusto.
Yeah, he had more attitude. He didn't talk too much crap. He just beat people up. You ready to play?
Whenever you're ready.
Can you even see this?
I can hear it.
Jesus, great, thanks.
Tell your sister I said hello.
She'll kill you quicker than I would.
What you gonna do?
I want to throw this at you is what I really want to do. You won't see it coming. I got a universe to save, forget this.
Who shot first, Han or Greedo?
Being that I am a Star Wars fan, I'm gonna have to say Han.
No matter what George Lucas says later on, it was always Han. He's not doing his little Star Wars head tilt edit.
Right, yeah.
So how do your friends and family feel about cosplay?
My family now starts to like it because they've seen all the stuff I've done. I went to Comic-Con Ecuador. I was flown out there as a featured guest. So they see me like making connections, like making like videos and all that stuff, and like see what I can do in building stuff. When I first did it, they were like, "Why are you spending so much money on this? Do you really need to buy a costume that costs that much and to be Spider-Man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Let me live." It's creativity.
Right.
Because my background is theater and film, so it's like, oh, it's another way of doing like acting.
I would say the same thing at first. They were a little like, oh, is this like glorified Halloween? Definitely how they would have looked at it. But that's something, you go to the convention and you actually see, okay, this is not what I thought it was. I brought friends to conventions and now they actually want to go. So it's pretty cool that they never would have thought about it before going at all. And they're like, dude, I want to dress up with you now because they, they see, okay, you get attention if you look cool, and then you can get pics with everyone else who looks cool.
Yeah.
Which you can't go wrong with that. I've started doing birthday parties and stuff like that, so they see, oh wow, you're not just dressing up. You can actually, make money on the side with this, and look at the joy you're bringing to people.
To what extent do you stay in character?
I think it depends on the character. Maybe depends on the con. Now, as Android 17, I probably wouldn't talk much. I'm just gonna look serious. Especially for the pictures, you have to stay in character, so it depends on the character.
Similar to you, it really depends on the character. Like when I'm Spider-Man, I try not to take off the mask because there's little kids around, so I'm always jumping around, being energetic, being happy. When I'm Daredevil, I'm depressed 24/7 because that's Matt Murdock. But even when I do take off the mask, I always try to avoid the eye contact, so you have the blind look in your eye. By instinct, if you hear something, you want to turn your eyes to it, so you have to avoid that habit.
What was your favorite animated TV show as a kid?
Dragon Ball Z.
By far, I loved all the superhero shows and, the Spider-Man back in the day, the 90s versions, but Dragon Ball Z was what you used to rush home to watch. You get home, I think it was 4 o'clock, Toonami. and you know Johnny Quest would be on after or whatever, but Dragon Ball Z was the show. And look at the inspiration and everything we used to get from that. You know, they used to get their ass kicked 24/7. They would get back up, fight. How could that not be inspiring?
Which of our characters do you think would win in a fight, and why?
I mean, I saved the universe, so I don't think you really have much of a hope. You just protect your little 10-block radius.
I'll
give
you that one.
I don't think you'd even make the team.
Whoa, buddy. Nah.
You're kind of a Yamcha. What is your biggest cosplay fail or mishap?
I would say my biggest cosplay mishap is my costume falling apart the day of. You get to the con and some piece, like it breaks, like even this suit, like the back plating, like it's starting to rip because it's thin foam pieces that I sewn onto it, and paint is like, it holds up pretty well. And then you know, you're back, you're moving, you're stretching, it rips and you're like, oh, great.
How long did it take you to sew everything together?
Honestly, between making the pattern and like gluing it and hand sewing all these little details.
All hand sewn?
Yeah, hand sewn. So it was like around 2 months or so, just tediously sewing every single day.
Commitment. Just fear of not wanting to make a mistake or not wanting to not look good enough in my, you know, perfectionist eyes of how I look at the character. So I think maybe more of a mental fail than a mishap, because I haven't had anything rip or as of yet, you know, let's pray, yeah. What was the inspiration behind this cosplay you're wearing today?
The inspiration for this cosplay, Daredevil, when the series first came out, everyone was like, you look like the actor, you like Charlie Cox, and I started seeing it. So I did, like, the first thing I did was like, I grabbed like a black headband I had, put the mask on my eyes, and like, boom, the first suit. Then I ordered the bodysuit from a designer, and then I got the bodysuit like a year later. After that point, I learned how to make more armor pieces. So I patterned these out, sewed it, glued it, and then I finally knocked it out after 2 years, and I was like, oh my God, it took so long, but it's worth it. I'm like, yeah, I still hate myself for it.
Well, love Dragon Ball cosplays, and I wanted to do all my favorite villains. And I think Android 17 is just, I think he's just badass. He's cool. I'd say maybe he's my second favorite villain. And the fact that people have definitely told me like, oh, you should do 17, you know, you shave, you look like him. That's a bit of an inspiration, but I think the fact that I love the character himself, that's enough of an inspiration for me.
What do you think this looks like?
That looks like a bear that's trying to power up.
My brain immediately thinks of Rorschach from Watchmen. That's kind of a cop-out. But seeing like the eyes in the bottom, kind of thinking more like Spider-Man type eyes, like Spider-Man 2099 with a more exuberant look.
So according to Netflix, how big is Hell's Kitchen?
According to Netflix, it takes place from 43rd Street all the way down to Brooklyn. It's like, oh yeah, this is 50th. I'm like, no, that's Bedford Avenue. Don't lie to me.
So you would say it's a lot bigger?
A lot bigger. Okay. And it looks nothing how it is now. You go to the real Hell's Kitchen and it's like preppy.
Have you ever been to Hell's Kitchen in your cosplay?
Yes. I actually worked right next to Hell's Kitchen.
Pokemon or Digimon?
Digimon. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings. Nacho cheese or Cool Ranch?
Nacho cheese. Muppet Babies or Tiny Toons?
Muppet Babies.
All right. Justice League or the Avengers?
Justice League.
All right, go.
Fire powers or ice powers?
Fire powers.
Mario or Sonic?
Sonic. Why doesn't the X Mansion have any wheelchair accessible ramps?
That's a good question. I mean, I would assume Professor Xavier can just lift himself in the chair if he wants to, right? Why not?
But he's a telepath. He could read your mind, but he's not telekinetic.
There's got to be some back door somewhere. Because how else? Well, Wolverine picks him up every time and walks him up the staircase.
Loki just takes the chair.
Or he just says, hey, Jean Grey, just move me, please, up the staircase. I need to get to the second floor.
Or he could just be like, you know what? You're picking me up and moving me.
Or hey, Nightcrawler, come to me. Like that. Instant transmission, in a sense.
I still wish that was a real thing.
So do I.
Okay, that almost looked like you were attracted to each other.